Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have, I would say, some pretty good news when it comes to the end of scalping, and honestly, the end of just a lot of really high exuberant price points. And I want to go and talk about this in general, because as you guys know, we've been watching, we've been dealing, we've been having to go and interact with for so long, scalpers, botters, and basically people trying their best to make as much money as they possibly can. And now as time keeps on going a little bit on and on and on, and a lot of interest keeps on waning and waning and waning, and of course less people have more money to spend, or just people want to save, or whatever it might be, we actually do keep on seeing even more and more and more less scalping. Hopefully that was nice proper grammar, but I want to go talk about this because we actually have some pretty good news, not fully in regards, say, to the PlayStation 5, but also in regards to the Xbox, but also for PC graphics cards too, which, if you guys kind of know, it's been kind of the big trifecta. All three of them are pretty much in tandem, where the PS5, Xbox, and GPUs were all, well, just essentially scalped and botted and basically bought out for as long as possible. So it's definitely been one of those things, I would say, where it's just finally becoming time, and we're going to talk about this with some pretty good news. So if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream down below, the Weeble and Coinbase down below, the Twitter giveaway down below, Amazon links and all that good stuff, Twitch stream, blah blah blah, and let's go and dive on into it. So one of the very first and kind of I guess biggest things is we are kind of in a systematic scalperless life. That was a lot of big words I'll put together. Basically, as of right now, we keep on having that nice max exodus when it comes to scalpers and people trying their best to go profit off these high in-demand objects. But the one big thing that I think is probably the part two. We have the Xbox, and I'd probably say there is still some scalpers and still people botting them. But at the most point, a lot of Xboxes, that's why I always have them linked down below, if you guys want to check for your local store, have been mostly pretty good. A lot of people who've been trying their best to get their Xboxes can get them. Even third-party price points are pretty good. And then the part two of that, I think, is the next step. And the last one is obviously the PlayStation 5. But part two, I think, is on the graphics card side. Now, you guys can maybe agree or disagree, but I always kind of felt like it was Xbox, then the really good GPUs, and then PlayStations. I mean, the Switch OLED was kind of irrelevant there for maybe a month or two, give or take, but I kind of feel like that was the usual format from at least what I saw people questioning about, people clicking on links, people conversion rates, and all of that. So with this, we actually have a pretty interesting article when it comes to the PlayStation 5 graphics cards, where scalping has basically died off, at least for now, for a lot of the 3000 series cards. Low demand for GPUs and razor-thin profit margins have now caused many scalpers to shift away from targeting PC graphics cards and focus elsewhere. Now, I'm a little bit afraid of that too, because I still think there's some pretty good profit margins when it comes to the PlayStation 5, and the PlayStation 5 price point has been actually going up. But at least at the end of the day, at least we are kind of seeing people moving around. So the days of scalpers snapping up PC graphics cards seem to be overdue to low demand from buyers and thin profit margins from reselling the products, which is nice to see. Everyone's basically over GPUs, one reseller told PC Mag. A major sign that scalping has plummeted can be found in the pricing for graphics cards on reselling sites such as eBay. Over the last year, the average selling prices for the latest NVIDIA GPUs have fallen finally and thankfully back to earth. So you guys can kind of maybe go and see this. I'll make this a little bit bigger. We'll probably go through some of the other charts too as well, where if you guys look through this, you can see just a lot of different price points where they start off really high, $1,500, and obviously kind of taper on down as time goes on. And then we have those huge bounce backs, as you guys probably have just had a chance to see throughout these past few months. It does definitely fluctuate. But as of right now, there is a few little baby bounces, you guys can see right here where the cursor is, or over there. But it does kind of seem like the overall average price does keep on going more and more down, to the point where the average price keeps on just dipping and dipping. And we love to go and see this, mainly because the price points are finally stabilizing, and they're getting really close to proper normal MSRP. So the average selling points for the RTX 3070s, and then we also have the 3080s right here too as well, which kind of follow a really similar chart. And I do think a lot of these trends are usually pretty nice to look at, where a lot of these trends, a lot of these movements and everything else are good. We like seeing these downward trends because this is the average sold price. But on top of that too, it's just always very nice to go and see on the fact that it's becoming normal, on the price points becoming normal. Now, the next kind of big thing is going to be on the scary side of the 4000 series, because I'm sure we're going to have a pretty similar vibe, I would say, to this, where, well, you could always just go and see, no matter how good the stock is or how good the movements are, there's always that huge uptick at the very start, which thankfully does kind of go and taper on down, but hopefully it'll just keep on going down from here, instead of having like this, this downwards and bounce back, then downwards and like kind of teeter-totters off. Because that's how it should be. I don't mind if people have issues getting in the first like few weeks, few months or whatever, and they want to pay a little extra. I get that. That's just everything. Tickets, concerts, cars, whatever it is, that's just life. That's fine. But when it comes to more to this, where it bounces back and it kind of is the same extra I guess, price point for super long, that's not cool. We don't like seeing this. So the fact that this is basically going down, and you guys can see these trends that we just showed you guys over here, these are two different graphics cards, we love to see this. And it does kind of seem like a lot of scalpers especially are moving off. Probably because we've been seeing a lot of Best Buy GPUs, we've been seeing restocks everywhere, we've been seeing movements everywhere, and even some places like Amazon have been having cards in stock for a very long time. Same like as I said for GPUs too, and Founders Editions and all of that. So instead of eBay pricing is very often close to the standard pricing now for GPUs at retailers, and most people would probably just, usually just buy from retailers too as well, because, well, you have like warranties, it's not like been used for crypto mining and all of that. Especially if you buy a product from Amazon warehouse, which sells open box and pre-owned items. This means that scalpers can extract basically just a little profit from buying and then reselling a new GPU at the current cost levels, which we love to see this. This is just the market normalizing. At the same time, supplies for GPUs at retailers such as Newegg and Best Buy have significantly improved, and for someone who's been looking at all these stocks for quite some time, I can actually attest. I've been seeing so many more GPU restocks, and Best Buy is getting stock up the wazoo, and even for some walk-ins too as well. We've also been seeing some pretty good stuff too on top of that. And it does kind of relate back to the fact where, well, why would you want to buy from a third-party person or someone from eBay or someone on Facebook where you have a risk to get like robbed or have your product stolen or get like a Brit like GPU, or you just don't like, maybe they were mining cryptocurrency, you didn't know, when you just maybe buy it from like Newegg or buy it from Amazon or buy it from Best Buy. You don't even have to go buy it from like, an Amazon warehouse, just from Amazon themselves. Basically, we also have other people over here too saying, yeah, scalping for GPUs is gone. A GPU restock tracking service. The demand is so low, in some cases, buying a graphics card on the reselling site StockX can even be cheaper than buying a brand new GPU. And that's why, just because a lot of people maybe were stockpiling stock and trying their best to build up stock the best they could, because, well, at the end of the day, they wanted to make money. And then at some point, you just have a huge influx of stock, which will hopefully happen to things like the PS5 soon, and then basically everyone has to get out as soon as they can. You can still sell, but for much lower than current new prices. It's making it really difficult for cryptocurrency miners to liquidate their cards, which I would actually say is pretty good. I'm not a big fan of cryptocurrency miners basically buying out like 50 cards and then just mass mining Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then at the end of the day, they just kind of, I guess, move off. Like, it's not a fun vibe. Like, we don't like that at all. We also apparently saw similar sentiments in the chat room for House of Cards, one of the many cook groups online that focus on reselling in-demand objects as well. GPU market is fried, and PS5 were only good around Xmas, wrote one member earlier on this week. Another person said, rest in peace, sweet, sweet GPUs. Now, I do want to go and say the PS5s have still been actually doing pretty, I want to say pretty well, but we have been seeing a lot more influxes in stock still floating around with it. And, well, I'm just happy to see everything kind of normalizing. So as of right now, we do have the Xbox Series X's mostly normalizing. The GPUs, although some are still kind of in demand, the higher end ones, and obviously the 4000 series will be a little bit in demand too, but it does kind of seem like most things are kind of chilling. And on top of that, lastly, the PS5 is probably the last puzzle, a part of this whole puzzle piece, but hopefully they'll be getting closer in the near future. So basically one exception too has been the NVIDIA's Founders Editions too as well, particularly the 3080, 3070, and 3060 Ti models. These products continue to sell at the lowest prices, meaning scalpers can resell them for a higher profit margin, but the cards remain rare. Best Buy is the only retailer in the US that carries them, and restocks usually occur 1 month or so. And if you guys also want to look at some of these other, even for Founders Editions too, we've also been seeing these prices, thankfully, also going down. Where you can see it's some prices high as up as $2,500, and then it had a huge drop. Imagine being the guy who buys this, and then literally 3 weeks later, a few weeks later, it's at $1,300. That's literally almost half. That's why you just don't buy from these people. But you guys could also kind of see a lot of these trends too as well. I guess this is for the 3080, also kind of falling down, which is nice to see. We love seeing all these proper price points. It's all kind of following the same chart because supply kind of matches everything, but I love this. I love the fact that we're seeing these price points being normal. This is awesome, and just keeps on going more and more and more down as time goes on. Now, some of them, as you guys can see over here, this is the 3080 Ti, has been kind of holding its value up a decent amount, but you can still kind of see this downward trend too, and same I think with the 3090, where thankfully as you guys go and look, you guys can at least see the price points going down. So at the end of the day, I would say this is fantastic. I love this, and if you guys want to give your thoughts and comments down below, feel free to. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream down below, the Webull and Coinbase down below, and the Twitter giveaway down below, and Xbox links down below. And I'm just happy to go and see so much of this finally happening.